Ever notice how the biggest games are starting to feel even more ambitious? The next 2 years are packed with massive releases, but a few of them already look like they could steal hundreds of hours from our lives. From long-awaited sequels to brand new worlds that are impossible to ignore, these are the 20 biggest AAA games coming in 2026 and 2027 that genuinely deserve a spot on your radar. I still remember the first time I watched the official GTA 6 trailer because I ended up replaying it just to catch all the little details hiding in the background. Grand Theft Auto 6 already feels like the kind of game people will be talking about for years, and honestly, I haven't felt this curious about an open world since GTA 5 first launched. The return to Vice City looks incredible, but it's the small things that grabbed my attention more than the big explosions. Watching crowded beaches, packed highways, random street encounters, and social media clips woven into the world makes everything feel surprisingly alive. Rockstar has officially confirmed the setting, the two main protagonists, Jason and Lucia, and a 2026 release window. Beyond that, plenty of rumors are floating around online, but until Rockstar says otherwise, they're still just speculation. If the final game delivers even half of the unexpected moments the trailers hint at, I already know I'll spend hours getting distracted instead of following story missions. Sometimes the best part of a GTA game isn't what you're supposed to do. It's the random moment you never planned for, but somehow never forget.
I'm here for Lucia.
The moment I saw Ciri step into the spotlight in The Witcher for I knew this wasn't trying to be a repeat of Geralt's journey. That's probably the biggest reason I'm excited for it. Geralt left behind some huge boots to fill, but Ciri brings a completely different energy that opens the door to stories we've never experienced before. The reveal trailer didn't try to explain everything, and honestly, I like that. I'd rather discover this world myself than have every surprise spoiled before launch. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that Ciri is the main protagonist and that this begins a brand new Witcher saga built with Unreal Engine 5. Everything beyond those official details is still speculation, no matter how convincing some online rumors sound. After Cyberpunk's rough launch and impressive comeback, I also think the studio has learned some valuable lessons about taking its time. If they can combine the unforgettable storytelling of The Witcher 3 with a fresh direction instead of simply chasing nostalgia, this could become the next RPG that completely takes over our free time without us even noticing. I've always liked superhero games, but Marvel's Wolverine caught my attention for a different reason. The first teaser barely showed anything, yet Logan's attitude alone said more than a full gameplay trailer could. You already get the feeling this won't be a clean, polished hero story where everyone walks away smiling. Wolverine has always been at his best when every fight feels personal, and that's exactly what I'm hoping Insomniac captures. The studio has officially confirmed the game is in development, but it has stayed surprisingly quiet since the reveal, which honestly makes me even more curious. I'd rather they spend the extra time getting the combat and story right than rush out another trailer every few months. I'm also expecting something very different from the Spider-Man games. Logan shouldn't feel graceful. Every slash, punch, and hit should look like it hurts, even when he's the one taking the damage. If I walk away from a fight feeling like I barely survived even though Wolverine can heal, that's the kind of experience I've been waiting for.
Because I ain't no hero.
Some games grab your attention with non-stop action. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, did the exact opposite for me. It was the atmosphere that pulled me in first. The reveal had this strange mix of retro, sci-fi, and quiet mystery that kept making me wonder what was really going on. Naughty Dog has officially confirmed you're playing as Jordan A. Munn, a bounty hunter who becomes stranded on the isolated planet Semperia, a place that's been cut off from the rest of the universe for centuries. That's such a simple setup, but it leaves room for so many unexpected moments. What really gives me confidence is the studio behind it. They've built a reputation for creating worlds that feel believable without needing to explain every little detail. I'm hoping this game trusts players to uncover its secrets naturally instead of pointing giant arrows at everything. Sometimes the most memorable adventure starts with a single unanswered question, and this one already has plenty of those waiting to be solved. I've played plenty of spy games over the years, but 7 First Light already feels like it's aiming for something a little different. Instead of dropping us into the shoes of the polished Bond everyone already knows, IO Interactive has officially confirmed this is an origin story that follows a much younger James Bond before he earns his legendary EOR-0 status. That alone makes me curious because it gives the developers room to build the character instead of relying on decades of movie history. If there's one studio that understands creative problem solving, it's the team behind Hitman. Those games constantly rewarded patience, observation, and finding your own solution, and I'd love to see some of that DNA carried into Bond's world without turning it into Hitman in a tuxedo. I don't need non-stop explosions every 5 minutes. Give me tense infiltrations, clever gadgets, and one mission that makes me feel smarter than the enemies chasing me. That's the kind of spy fantasy that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The first thing that hit me about Onimusha Way of the Sword wasn't the monsters, it was the swordplay. Every swing in the footage had real weight behind it, like every fight was asking you to stay focused instead of just mashing buttons. That's exactly what I want from an action game. Capcom has officially brought the series back after years of silence, and it already looks like it's keeping the dark, supernatural style that made the older games so memorable while pushing everything forward with modern visuals. I also like that it doesn't seem interested in turning every encounter into a giant spectacle. Sometimes a single duel against a dangerous enemy is far more exciting than fighting 100 weaker ones. If the combat keeps that balance between precision and brutality, every victory should feel earned instead of handed to you. There are plenty of games that let you feel powerful. This one looks like it'll make you earn that feeling one sword clash at a time. Horror games usually lose me once I figure out their tricks, but Resident Evil Requiem already gives me the feeling that it won't be so easy to predict. The reveal didn't rely on non-stop jump scares. Instead, it built this uneasy tension where every hallway looked like it was hiding something you really didn't want to meet. Capcom has officially confirmed the game, and from what we've seen so far, it's introducing a new chapter with fresh faces while still feeling connected to the series fans know. That's a balance Resident Evil has gotten much better at over the years. I'm hoping the game keeps making me question whether I should open the next door or turn around and search somewhere else first. Those tiny moments of hesitation are where the best survival horror lives. If I ever catch myself checking every dark corner even after telling myself it's probably safe, I'll know the game has done its job. Fear is always stronger when your own imagination joins the fight. I'll be honest, Pragmata is one of those games that keeps making me more curious the less it explains. Every time Capcom shows a little more, I end up with twice as many questions, and for once I don't mind that at all. The latest footage finally gave us a better look at its sci-fi setting, the partnership between Hugh and the mysterious android girl Diana, and a mix of action, exploration, and puzzle solving that already feels different from most big-budget shooters. What really caught my eye was how the two characters seem to depend on each other instead of one simply protecting the other. That kind of teamwork can make even small encounters feel memorable when it's done well. Of course, after the delays, I think it's fair to keep expectations grounded until the game is actually in our hands. Still, I'd rather wait a little longer for a polished experience than rush into something unfinished. Sometimes the biggest mystery isn't what's happening in the story. It's why you can't stop thinking about it after the trailer ends.
One-stop companion for all things shelter.
I don't think I've ever jumped into a Battlefield match expecting everything to go according to plan. And that's exactly why I keep coming back. Battlefield 6. Already looks like it's trying to bring back that unpredictable sandbox feeling where the best moments aren't scripted at all. You're focused on one firefight, then a building starts collapsing, a jet screams overhead, and suddenly your entire squad is fighting somewhere completely different. That's the kind of chaos Battlefield does better than almost anyone. From what has been officially shown, the developers are putting a big focus on modern warfare, large-scale battles, and the class-based gameplay that longtime fans have been asking to see again. After the mixed reaction to Battlefield 2042, I think it's fair to be cautiously optimistic. The series has something to prove this time, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes a franchise delivers its strongest comeback when it remembers exactly why players fell in love with it in the first place. The first time I watched Nioh, 3 Dalways in action, I caught myself leaning toward the screen like I was about to dodge the attacks myself. That's always a good sign. Team Ninja has officially confirmed the game, and it already looks like it's keeping the fast, demanding combat the series is known for while introducing more freedom in how you approach battles. I like that it doesn't seem interested in making things easier just for the sake of it. Every enemy still looks dangerous, and every mistake feels like it'll cost you. At the same time, the new movement and exploration ideas make the world feel less restrictive than before, which could make discovering hidden paths just as satisfying as winning a tough fight. I'm fully expecting to get defeated more times than I'd like to admit, but that's part of the appeal. The victory always feels sweeter when the game refuses to hand it to you, and Nioh has never been afraid to make you earn every single step forward.
As a ninja, you should make use of your ninja. Keep your distance from enemies in mind.
Every time I see new footage from Crimson Desert, I end up pausing just to figure out how much of it is actual gameplay because some of the moments look almost too good to be real. But beyond the visuals, it's the freedom that keeps pulling me in. One minute you're climbing cliffs or gliding across the landscape, and the next you're locked in a brutal fight where every hit carries real weight. Pearl Abyss has officially confirmed that this is a single-player open-world action-adventure, and from everything shown so far, the world looks packed with places that practically beg you to wander off the main path. That's exactly how I like exploring in games. I don't want a map full of checklists telling me where to go. I want to spot something strange in the distance and think, I have to see what's over there. If Crimson Desert can keep rewarding that curiosity instead of rushing players from mission to mission, I can easily see myself getting lost in its world for dozens of hours without even realizing it. Silent Hill FUT was going to be different the moment those beautiful flowers started taking over everything on screen. It looks peaceful for a second, and then something about it feels completely wrong. That contrast is what stuck with me more than any monster reveal. Instead of returning to the familiar streets of Silent Hill, Konami has officially confirmed that this story takes place in 1960s Japan, and that fresh setting already gives the series a different kind of fear. It's less about loud scares and more about the feeling that the world itself is quietly turning against you. I'm also glad the trailers haven't revealed too much. Horror works best when your imagination fills in the blanks, and every unanswered question makes me want to explore even more. I don't need a game to throw a creature at me every 5 minutes. Sometimes walking through a place that feels strangely beautiful is far more unsettling. That's the kind of fear that lingers long after you put the controller down. I'd say Romeo is a dead man is easily the wild card on this list because I still have no idea what it's going to throw at players next, and honestly, that's exactly why I'm interested. The reveal trailer felt like someone turned the chaos dial all the way up and then snapped it off. One second you're watching stylish sci-fi action, and the next everything is drenched in over-the-top violence with enemies coming from every direction. Grasshopper Manufacture has officially confirmed the game, and if you've played any of the studio's previous titles, you already know they don't like playing by the usual rules. That's something I genuinely respect. In a time when so many AAA games start feeling familiar, this one seems determined to carve out its own identity, even if that means confusing people at first. I'm not expecting a calm, predictable adventure here. I'm expecting the kind of game where every new level makes you wonder, how did they even come up with this? Sometimes being completely unpredictable is the biggest selling point a game can have. The funny thing about Arc Raiders is that I went in expecting another fast-paced shooter, but the more I watched, the more it felt like survival was the real challenge. Those giant mechanical machines aren't just there to look cool. They completely change how you move through the world because running straight into a fight looks like the quickest way to lose everything you've collected. Embark Studios has officially confirmed that ARC Raiders is an extraction shooter, so every decision matters once you're carrying valuable loot. That's the part I find most exciting. The best moments in games like this usually happen on the way out, when you're debating whether to risk one more building or head for extraction before another squad spots you. I also like that the world doesn't feel empty between battles. There's this constant tension that something could appear at any moment, even when everything seems quiet. Sometimes the loudest sound in a game is the silence right before everything goes wrong. I usually don't get excited about MMOs until I actually see how the world feels, and Chrono Odyssey is one of the few that immediately grabbed my attention. It wasn't because of flashy spells or giant bosses. It was the idea that time itself seems to play a role in the adventure. The footage shows a world that feels massive, but it also looks like it's constantly changing, which makes exploring a lot more interesting than simply running from one quest marker to the next. Kakao Games and Chrono Studio have officially confirmed the game, and everything shown so far points toward a large-scale online RPG with real-time combat and an emphasis on exploration. I'm still keeping my expectations realistic because MMOs always have a lot to prove once players finally jump in. Even so, if the world keeps rewarding curiosity instead of turning every journey into a checklist, I can already picture myself wandering off for just 5 minutes and somehow realizing 2 hours disappeared. That's usually the best compliment I can give an open-world game. The first thing I thought when I saw Code Vein de Sekiro E was, good, they're not playing it safe. The original game had its own identity, mixing anime-inspired style with challenging combat, and this sequel already looks ready to push that idea even further. Bandai Namco has officially confirmed the game, and from the footage we've seen, the world feels darker, the enemies look even more intimidating, and the battles seem to demand more than just quick reflexes. What I'm really hoping for is a stronger sense of discovery. I love when a game rewards you for taking the long route instead of rushing toward the next objective. Finding an unexpected shortcut or uncovering a hidden area always sticks with me longer than another flashy boss fight. I'm also curious to see how the story unfolds without giving everything away too early. Some games earn your attention by constantly explaining themselves. Others keep you invested by letting the mystery do the heavy lifting. Code Vein 2 looks like it's aiming for the second approach, and that's exactly why I'm watching it so closely. I wasn't expecting Saros to leave such a strong first impression because the reveal focused more on mood than action, and somehow that made it even more interesting. Housemarque has officially confirmed that you play as Arjun Devraj, a Soltari enforcer, stranded on the mysterious planet Carcosa after a dangerous eclipse. Right away, it feels like the kind of place where every step raises another question instead of giving you answers. What really caught my attention is the promise that every death permanently changes your character, which is a very different direction from Returnal's reset-heavy structure. That single idea could completely change how every run feels because you're not simply starting over. You're carrying something forward each time. I'm also curious to see how Housemarque builds on its signature fast-paced combat, while giving players more reasons to explore beyond the next fight. Some games make you fear losing progress. Saros looks like it might turn failure into part of the adventure, and that's a risk I'm excited to take. I had to watch the reveal for more than once, and it wasn't because I missed something. I just couldn't believe how disturbing some of those creature animations looked. Most horror games try to scare you with loud noises. This one seems more interested in making you feel uncomfortable every second you're holding the controller. That's a very different kind of fear. Team Cloud has officially confirmed the game, and from everything shown so far, it's built around realistic physics, brutal survival horror, and enemies that react in ways that are honestly hard to predict. What really stands out is how physical every encounter feels. Even opening a door or walking into a dark room carries this constant sense that something is about to go horribly wrong. I'm also glad the trailers haven't explained every mystery, because horror loses a lot of its power once you know exactly what's waiting around the corner. Sometimes the scariest monster is the one your brain invents before you even see it, and Isle already understands that better than most. I wasn't expecting Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra to stand out as much as it did, especially in a year packed with superhero games. What grabbed me wasn't the action first, it was the setting. Seeing Captain America and Black Panther fighting during World War II instantly made the whole story feel different from the usual modern-day Marvel adventure. Skydance New Media has officially confirmed that the game follows multiple playable characters whose paths cross as Hydra becomes a growing threat. That alone opens the door for some really interesting storytelling instead of focusing on just one hero. I'm also curious to see how the game balances cinematic moments with gameplay, because the trailers already hint at some impressive set pieces without giving away too much. I'd rather discover the biggest surprises myself than have every twist revealed before launch. If the story delivers the same emotional weight as its premise, this could end up being one of those rare superhero games that people remember just as much for its characters as its action.
If you wanted us dead, we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Answers.
Space games usually grab me with giant explosions or massive battles, but Aphelion pulled me in for the exact opposite reason. It feels quiet, isolated, and just a little unsettling. The game follows astronaut Ariane Montclair after a crash leaves her stranded on a frozen planet, and from the very first reveal, it looks like survival is just as important as discovering what happened. Don't Nod has officially confirmed the game, and if you've played any of the studio's previous titles, you know they're good at telling stories that stick with you long after the credits roll. What really has me interested is how lonely the world feels. Every step across the icy landscape gives the impression that help isn't coming anytime soon, and that makes even simple decisions feel important. I don't need a game to throw constant action at me to stay invested. Sometimes the strongest moments come from complete silence. If Aphelion can keep that feeling alive from beginning to end, it might end up being the most unforgettable journey on this entire list.
Like my old sci-fi paperback covers. Remember, Thomas? We used to read Citizen.
And that's the list. These next couple of years are looking incredible for gamers, and I honestly can't wait to see which of these titles lives up to the hype. Now it's your turn. Which game are you most excited for? And did I miss one that deserves a spot on the list? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll catch you in the next one.